Yeah, what's up, everyone? Welcome back to Smite OCL. My name is Lath. I'm joined by the most handsome man in OCE, Moss Adlers. How are we, my friend?
I'm very well. You flatter me every time. Thank you. Please don't
It's only,
stop.
it's only the truth. Only the truth, cast number two. Anyway, welcome back, everyone. We are going to get straight into the final couple of games from week 6, I do believe, of Smite OCL. We saw the Married Men versus the Corrupted Crusaders yesterday. As long as a little brief touching from Chompy about what happened in the threats versus the Bomber. Obviously, there was a game one forfeit. That game wasn't ended up streaming, but we had a good little set between Married Men and Crimson Knights, mine and Moss's team.
That was very interesting. It was back and forth. Hit him with a little quaddy at one point, and the rest is history.
I couldn't believe the funniest part about that quad kill as well is straight after it happened, all of our cameras went to Flicks because obviously we were all dead, and we've all just seen Flicks step in an Artemis trap and die. So that was quite funny. But
Hmm.
that set aside, we're gonna get straight into the first match, which I believe we're gonna be watching. Wonderful Day for Pi versus Gravity Finance and Moss. This is an interesting one. It's a Wonderful Day for Pi, the number one seed, yet to drop even a game in the season versus Gravity Finance, who I think right now is currently sitting in sixth place, but they have been on the rise. They've been winning a lot of their more recent games. Had a couple of roster swaps, and I think that they could be a little sneaky upset.
Yeah, BGF's on a tear lately. They've taken some good sets off some teams who may have thought they
BGF's
should
on a
have got the win. But yeah, BGF has been showing people not to doubt them. I think this week as well, they have a few roster swaps, a few different players stepping in, which is nice to see for the viewer, but I imagine for the team, it might not be the best. And we all know Pi's roster has stayed consistent the whole season so far. No doubts that they have some very good chemistry and some great players. So yeah, I'm actually very interested to see how this set goes.
Yeah, me too. This was the one this week that I was the most excited to see. So it will be really interesting, and hopefully we can get in and have a look at these teams. And it is Wonderful Day for Pi first. Starting in the solo lane, we have Vematron. It's your boy Sean in the jungle. Vintage in the middle lane. Young Legs in support. And Thegoros, the ADC. Uh, a lot of names. Everyone knows these names. A lot of these people have been around for a long time. And there's no real surprise about how well this team has been doing this season, is there? I mean, we all kind of expected this.
Yeah, every player is a top tier player in their role. They can show time and time again that each player in this team has just as good of an opportunity as the next to be the one to carry the game, which is very nice from a team perspective. We've seen Vematron have outstanding performances, Sean, Theg, everyone. Like, it's quite nice to have many outlets on a team, like many different directions you can take the game.
Yeah, I will say that leading in, I always thought like, Sean and Vintage were going to be the two obvious people that we wanted to look at. But I think as of late, Young Legs is the one who's on my mind. He's been playing really well in support. I know that when the season started, he didn't seem to understand how much damage he could take. He was caught out of position a little bit, but in these last few weeks, he's really been shining. He's been the leader of this team, in my opinion. He's always at the forefront of every single team fight, and he's always in the correct position, and he just seems to be setting up and peeling for his carries so well. I mean, Theg, obviously, right now, I believe, is like the top KDA in the league. I think the last time I checked, he
Damn.
was. He'd barely died at all this season, but I think a lot of that does come down to Legs being at the front and protecting him so well.
Yeah, it's all legs. We've seen this. We've seen the Ymir pick go. He goes back to that quite a lot, and I really love to see him on it. He can catch whole teams out with one wall, and yeah, I'm been very impressed by his performance so far.
Yes, as we will move over to Biogravity Finance now, and again, an interesting team. I'm not too sure what the changes were. I think well, the standard team, we will start with that. We do have House and Solo, Melb's jungle, Carter in the mid lane, Weave and Dookie in the duo lane. And I do believe that Moxie will be filling in for the solo lane. And was it Dookie playing jungle and Mingyu, I think, the one and only World's ADC Mingyu Co is coming back. He's playing ADC. That is him, VF Triple A. I'm not too sure exactly how to say that name, but that's one that I'm really interested to see. What about you, Moss?
Yeah, well, to be honest, I've only really stepped into the competitive in the last few seasons. So players like Ming Yu, they're kind of out of my wheelhouse. I do know that he's quite a skilled player, but I'd like to see if he still has it in the locker.
Yeah, that's definitely a matchup that I'm excited to see. So I can't wait to see Mingyu versus Thegoris. And I mean, Thegoris has been around for a long time. Mingyu been around for a long time. I'm sure these two probably know each other pretty well. I'm sure that they've laned against each other many, many times over the years. So that's a matchup I'm very excited to see. There's see if we can get into a bit of picks and bans here and get this show on the road, eh?
Yeah, I think a strength that BGF have themselves is that many teams underestimate them. I think my team fell guilty to that. I'm not too sure why. They have good players on their roster, but yeah, I think sometimes a little bit of like almost disrespect is put towards them, but they've been showing lately that they can just take a set at any mistake that you make. So I'd like to see if Pi can play through the set smoothly and not open any doors for BGF to just sneak away a little victory.
Is we will start with the Terror ban. It's interesting you say. I think that a lot of the BGF players are very good. A lot of them have been around for a fair time. Not so much in the competitive scene, but well, actually, to be fair, we do have Weave and Dookie who have been around the competitive scene for a long time. But more Carter, Melbs have been around in the last year or two. So it's interesting that people don't quite show them that respect. Where I think that they are definitely due it as Emoja ban on the other side, Ram for Pi and what are we looking at taking here in the first pick, cast number two? Maybe a Baba Yaga?
I'd love to see a Baba Yaga. Although I'm pretty sure Pi, dare I say, will go for the double hunter comp. They seem to prioritize that quite consistently. So possibly a strong remaining hunter, seeing that they've actually prioritized quite a few hunter bands themselves. They can take one and then leave kind of the weaker picks left, even though all hunters are kind of viable at the moment. Possibly I don't know, the Artemis could be a high priority, knowing that Theg likes it so much. It is more traditional hunter, so it could be something that Mingy looks to. Oh, there you go, Hachi.
Yeah, Hatchman first.
I
That's
will
interesting.
win peace
Definitely a
by
Thegoris
force.
pick, but I think I have seen Vintage play this in
I'll
mid a couple of times
consume
now
every
as
last one
Marty
of
locked on the other
them.
side. Now this is an interesting one. You know, a lot of people have really been prioritizing Marty. It's strange to see him let through from second pick. Even stranger for him to not be insta locked. So I've got to assume that this will be a
The
Marty mid. I've
end
seen Carter play
is
a lot of it.
now.
We all know where that her big snake's probably going into that solo lane for Moxie.
Yeah, I think Marty's definitely stronger in the mid lane. He's a hunter, but more of a ability base. So like if you're picking Marty as your ADC, I think your comp kind of lacks a little bit of objective burn.
Come,
So
we shall
I'd
fly
hope to see
together.
that in the mid lane for BGF.
I definitely think we will see it there as we now see the horror. So this could be the duo lane locked in, but this could also be the hang on a
You
sec
are
with Achilles. Nah,
finished.
I'm gonna have to say that's a Vemitron pick right there. That's gonna be a
Hmm.
Achilles solo. I know Sean also loves the Achilles pick, but there's no way they're picking Achilles, especially after Yorm has been picked in. It's a classic counter matchup. Once Yorm is in that threshold, there's no way he gets away. It's the second that the
Evil
threshold
doesn't
pops up,
stand a chance.
Achilles instantly hits Fatal Strike. Yorm's gone. He cannot get into the World Serpent in time to get away. Is Iset now picked? Uh,
Is this a
that's a
clout jungle? Is this clout jungle inspiration? You think, or is it more of a weave special?
I have to think it's Weave. This is definitely a Weave special. I've seen him playing this a lot, but I've been seeing it more in dare I say more uncoordinated games, things like the Daisuke Friday solo queue games, where teams aren't quite expecting, the Eye of the Jungle E set just to be on your green buff on respawn. I think that it may be a bit of a troll if it is the Eye of the Jungle E set support, because I just don't think Pi is going to let Weave get away with it.
Yeah, in saying that, Iset's still a strong character in the support role. I think she has a lot to offer with her CC. I think there probably is better guardians out there to do that, but maybe Weave's really feeling this pick and he just wants to run it.
Well, Set and Thorbands by BGF. Set band's interesting. We haven't seen a lot of Set. I do know Sean has been playing a lot of Set, not so much recently, but he is a well-known Set player. Vintage also a Set player, so probably not a horrible ban. Chibalanke Jingwei on the other side is the Cernanos
With
looks to be
me
locked
you
in here, and
all
I'm
shall
gonna have to say that
flourish
it will be
and
that he set
prosper.
support now.
Yeah, I think the jungle bands are pretty safe. Like, I suppose Sean's god pool is so large at the same time, but just throw some things in there that you don't want to verse. Like, not the worst idea in the world.
Well, I have to assume that that is the Sean hover now with the Hevo.
I wouldn't want to verse that. Maybe
Oh,
they should have
definitely we're
done
seeing a
that.
Ra. Yep, this will be Vintage on the Ra mid. I'm
Call,
excited for this.
call.
Vintage is a very well-known Ra player, and he's always looked so good on it. There's plenty of setup for him between Horus and Achilles. Maybe not so much the Hevo, but I am keen to see this little double mage, double
Time
warrior
to
comp
hunt.
and a Fenrir locked in.
It's a nice
I
pick.
Yeah, I have to say that that is just a straight counter pick into the Hevo. Pretty traditional one. Dookie does like the Fenrir, so I'm not too surprised to see this pick.
Yeah, it gives Ra a reasonably difficult time as well. I think Ra is more survivable than you may think with his two, but Fenrir still gives him a lot of trouble, seeing that he has no mobility. But I think the Horus there will help him a lot. The setup, the peel, the heal. I think it's going to be a little bit difficult in some scenarios, but I think they should have a pretty good time.
Well, Castle number two, getting into this game, who are you giving it to? Who are you giving it to? Purely, forget about the names, forget about who's who. Purely looking at these comps, who are we giving game number 1 to?
Castle number one. I believe that the solo lane matchup is dirty for Vematron. If they can find the burn on that Yorm, if he overcommits, some of those characters there can be caught out. The Martichorus, well, not as easily on the Marty with the ult, but the E set, some counter dive from Young Legs and Itsy Boy Sean on the Hebo. I think much rather have the pie draft.
Yeah, look, I have to agree. I do think the pie draft's really good. It is the eye of the jungle. He's had support. He's going down. I don't like this from Weave. Not in a game against Pie.
What's the thought behind it, you think?
Um, I'm not too sure. I think it's essentially just a double jungle, right? You're just going to be on their buffs. Weave can kind of just solo invade a lot. He can try and split the map a little bit. It is really annoying to deal with, but I just don't put it past Pi having the ability to deal with it. So I'm not too sure how much I like this, but you know what? I'm happy to be proven wrong. I'm happy to be shown that it is good. As Mingyu goes straight in, straight on the thing. Nothing really used though, so not the worst little start here.
That's a nice example of the wave pressure you can get with a full damage E set as your support. So maybe there is some ability to the pick.
Bit of a scuffle here in mid. We are seeing Dookie just kind of show why that Fenrir is so good into Hebo. I mean, this is actually a really good Fenrir game as he leaps in and gets the stun onto Vintage. No, it doesn't quite save it. Vintage does get first blood. Carter will fall. For a second there, I thought Dookie actually had brought the CC enough to save his mid laner, but that is first blood to Pi, 1 minute into the game.
Yeah, possibly a little bit of miscommunication there between Carter and Dookie. Maybe overstepping a little bit and allows Vintage just to step up and hit him with the 2-1 every day of the week.
We're looking at already about 1100 gold lead, which is quite surprising. I mean, I know that there was that 500 gold from that first blood, but I'm not too sure where this sudden burst of lead has already come from. Was we can see that BGF are getting the side camps. No, I think that was Vintage. You managed to secure both of those, and that Ra one's such a good little secure. I don't think they really have the ability to steal away from that Ra.
Yeah, not at the moment. We've seen this so far this season, or I suppose it's a season, but from this last update with the jungle changes, the characters that have really nice mid pressure are very valuable. And if you know Ra, he's a demon when it comes to farming up. The items that are strong in mid as well at the moment with the Karens, he's going to be zooming around the map, and I don't think really either of the Carter or Dookie should have any real chance at contesting him on those mids.
Well, we're starting to see now, this, as a blue buff invade comes out, I wasn't quite expecting this. Vermitron has had the lane pressure over here, but maybe a little bit too much pressure. Hasn't come back to do his buff yet, and he's going to pop back to see it has been done by Dookie. Really unfortunate to see for the solo lane Achilles, but I mean, we saw for a second there what this ESET jungle with, either jungle has been picked for. He went straight for the back camps, he was there on respawn, and he was posturing for that green buff, but with Sean in the area, wasn't able to get it. So I have to expect we're going to see a lot of this invading ESET from Weave this game, which, like I said, I'm not too big a fan of. I don't know if, your support never being there in a fight's going to be great against Pi, but we will have to see how it goes as Pi have already extended this to a 1600 lead.
Yeah, despite the invades, doesn't show too much. I think it is kind of decent for the CERN as well, being left to solo farm so early. So we could see a little lead. Unlucky. Could see a little lead pop up here in duo, seeing that I think like maybe halfway through level 3 or just on level 4, we've left, which is quite considerably earlier than you would see most supports leave.
Yeah, it is slightly earlier. Sean just kind of stands there and looks at Dookie as he brutalizes. There's nothing more BM than just not doing anything. just standing there watching it happen. Looks like Bastion pressure going the way of Pi over here as Legs hasn't rotated out. As you were just saying, we've left nice and early, probably just shy of level 4, I think he was. And Legs is still here. He's still pushing with Theg, maybe trying just to get a bit of pressure in the duo lane, try and take this T1 tower early, and just make it really unsafe for Mingyu, who has been out of the scene a little bit lately. So maybe trying to put a little bit of attention to him.
Yeah, I haven't seen too much of Mingyu in my competitive experience, but is there any things that he's known for in his career?
Look, I can't really answer that. He was a little bit before my time. I just know that he was damn good at his job. So I'm not too sure if I think he was quite the aggressive player. He liked to take 1v1, so seeing him playing to Theg, who Theg isn't much of a 1v1 taker. He's more of a farm up, play for the team fight late game. There's a lot of attention on the Vamp here. Could be in a bit of trouble. Might need a Fatal Strike. He does get the Fatal Strike off, and that is another kill. But this time towards By Gravity Finance. And yeah, I mean, seeing Dookie get active early with this Fenrir brutalizes, tanks a couple of tower shots, just gets away with his life. But really well done from Vem. I think he did everything he could there. He started the Fatal Strike just as the stun was about to hit him. So I think a pretty well played by the solo laner, but just not quite enough.
Yeah, and we see this pressure from Yorm is still prevalent. It is a counter matchup, but the lane is still quite temperamental. Seeing Yorm can just put out so much damage at any point, especially with the Chronos Pendant direction from the start of the build. So maybe, well, I know I fall victim to it, but maybe Vermitron fell victim to just underestimating the Yorm damage there.
Yeah, maybe not quite expecting how much Moxie was putting out on the Yorm, but I mean, I know for one, I'm pretty guilty of doing the same thing. Whenever I am face to face with the Yorm, I just kind of tank a lot of the damage, not really expecting how much is going to come out. I'm sure Vem's probably a little bit more used to the matchup though. So the Chronos Pendant is finished. It is also a tainted steel, which is interesting. But one thing I'm really noticing here is that there's not a lot of beefiness on the side of BGF. You know, no one really is going to be able to frontline for the first little while here. So maybe some early objectives could be the call for Pi, where no one from BGF's able to stand up as Mingyu manages just to weave his way out of there as Legs misses the dash.
Yeah, we see the Fenrir also going towards a Stone of Binding, it may seem. So I think they may even rely on Dookie just having that early pressure, getting one kind of bruiser item online, and they can play through the Fenrir in the jungle.
Yeah, that was a really well played just then though for our Legs to avoid a lot of the damage. Ragnarok came out from Dookie, manages to get the dash off, followed by the fly, gets back to Theg, who was in the area. Big heads up from the ADC to know that his support's going to need someone to fly to, and Legs manages to get a couple of cooldowns out of the boys, which is really good. I think that was both ADC and jungle ultimates, so feeling pretty good right now if you're Pi.
Definitely. I think we saw the kind of priority towards Horus fall off a little. He seemed to be pretty popular in solo at one point, but I don't know, people just stopped picking him. I think he's still valid with that so much shred on his 2. I don't know what the percentage is, but yeah. Ooh.
Well, hang on. Theg takes the 1v1. He ults in. Jumps on the mounted cavalry and
Welcome
finishes off
back.
Mingyu. Yeah, welcome back to competitive Mingyu. Take a bit of that as Vintage hits the snipe on the weave in the beacon pit. That's 2 for Pi. Very quick back-to-back kills, and looks like they're not finished yet. They're looking towards Dookie. Dookie has no mana. Legs takes to the sky. Just gonna take the mid camps and get on out of there after that one.
Yeah, the gold there just immediately steps up. So let's see if Pike can keep their foot on the pedal and keep finding these picks in such valuable spots. I think Thegoris did very well there to just know his damage and find the CERN that the kill pressure is always there. If you're a little bit low in lane against a Hachi, you can just close the whole gap, do a bunch of damage, stun you. So yeah, maybe Mingyu needs a little bit more warm-up time before he gets back in the shoes. But yeah, well played from Theg.
Yeah, it's a great point about that matchup there, because Hachiman has that CC immune ult, so I don't think there's really ever going to be a time where Mingyu's going to really be able to take a 1v1. You know, when he goes for that polymorph, you know, Hunting Grounds? I hate it when I can't remember her name. The Cernanos ultimate.
Pig pen.
Yeah,
Also,
whenever he tries to put him in the pig pen, he just jumps on the horse for that mounted archery and he just charges straight at him. Sure, he's still going to take that damage, but he's not going to take the polymorph.
it's
And then
called
not
Wild
only
Hunt.
that, but Wild Hunt, there you go. And on top of that, he also slows, which makes it really hard to try and juke the autos coming out from Fake. So Weave getting a bit handsy here, and Sean is just going to go for the crushing wave, finish Weave off. And this is what I was talking about, Caster 2. This is why I wasn't happy to see this full damage E-set by the jungle support, because I know he's going to look for these things, and Pi just isn't a team who's going to let him do that. As Theg might be in a bit of trouble here. Does have that mounted archery to get away. Ragnarok picks up Sean, who has to use the beads, but now Duke's in a bad spot. Legs rotates in, and he'll take that one for himself.
Yeah, I think that the E-set needs a defense item. I know Chronos Pendant is an awesome item, but possibly prioritizing that second could have been a better option, because we saw how fast he just got blown up. Also, the build path's baiting him into invading there, where that stuff like that will just happen on cooldown if he kind of ventures too deep into the Pi jungle.
Yeah, I think he was trying to get that purple buff by himself, and unluckily for him, Sean was in the area and Legs came in to mop up either way. As he's walking up to Vintage now, Legs is behind him. Hits a lovely little stun, and Vintage says, thank you very much. Searing Pain more than enough to take Weave down, and that's 3 spills for the support now. Starting to fall a little bit behind here. 2 behind Legs in levels, and starting to get a little bit dicey there for the supporters. It actually just ticks over to 3.
Yeah, I think that did about half of his HP, which is not what you want to see when you're playing support at 11 minutes. So I hope he can find... Oh, he's got the glowing emerald online. I think he's safe.
Yeah, probably going to be a gauntlet of thieves here. Oh, actually, would this be a Cannoneer's Curace? Do you reckon he's really looking to prioritize farm as much as he can?
Get him out the kitchen. He needs to stop cooking. Just build a thieves, please.
I have to admit, I am a big fan of Cannoneer's Curace. I'm guilty of that, I will admit. Has a big scuffle here as Weave is already taken down to not a lot of health. Good to the skies from Legs to immune the Ragnarok. Oh, the free hand Searing Pain. Weave goes down again. And this is really starting to get rough.
I think I would have liked to see Dookie just try and get a relic off Vintage there instead of trying to prioritize the Horus. I see the idea. He was a little bit lower, but I think having a beads off a Ra is way more valuable than finding a pick on a support at this point in the game.
Yeah, I definitely do see Dookie's thinking there. Obviously, Legs playing the Horus doesn't have any sort of beads, doesn't have that quick relic, but he can just take to the skies. So I do see where Dookie was thinking with that Ragnarok, but yeah, I do agree. Maybe just going for a cheeky little grab on the Ra, even if just to get the Searing Pain, because if Ra attempts to Searing Pain the Ragnarok instead of using the beads, at least Weave probably survives.
Definitely. We see the solo lane just staying rather even. No kills, just chilling out. I think this counter matchup really comes into play. Oh, Sean in a lot of trouble.
It looked to be the Aegis coming out of it was the Aegis as the freehand Searing Pain isn't enough this time. Pretty lucky, I think, to get away with his life there, as with you can really see that Fenrir counter matchup so good into Hevo. And look, I just have to point this out. Look at how much frontlining Legs is doing right now.
Yeah.
He's being so unkillable. He's so hard. That's Ragnarok forced once again. This time just defensively to get out of the tower line as Vem nearly goes down to the side of
Moxie.
Moxie. Moxie not finished though.
He can hit that. He can hit it. Oh, I thought he walked underneath that for a second. Vem's too clean.
Beautiful juice from Vem, and Moxie.
Oh, he's gonna die. He's gonna die.
He hits the stun. Oh, he does hit the stun. The tower shot does get the kill. Vem gets the solo, and
that's disappointing.
Moxie.
You got to know that's gonna happen. He definitely has a stun in his kit somewhere. That Achilles.
Look, Mossa, as a solo handler yourself, if you've just missed your 3 hits from the World Serpent, what are you thinking? Are you just getting out of there? Are you trying to dive underneath the tower?
Well, either way, you're going back to the fountain with your tail between your legs, so you choose your poison, I suppose. Like I'm just running into the jungle, but yeah, Moxie can do it any way he likes.
The solo laners have now rotated out. Oh my god, where did that come from? Searing Pain from Vintage takes out Wii for the 3rd time. 5 spills in total for the support now. And looks like it's a bit of trouble for Carter. Vem has made the rotation. Moxie is also here though. No ultimates for the solo laners, but it's got to be a Gold Fury call here. No.
Yeah, there's just no answer to the pressure from the Horus. Like, it's almost as if the support has no defense at 14 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, we're looking at an Eye of the Jungle Chronos Pendant. What is that? The
Emerald Mail.
Emerald Mail, as opposed to a fully stacked Gauntlet of Thieves and a Stone of Binding. So, Legs just making an insane difference here for his team. He's nigh unkillable. You know, he's only 1 level behind 3 of the characters on Biogravity Finance. You know, he's just pretty hard to kill here on the Horus. I mean, Horus already hard enough to kill, but a Horus that's ahead, that spells danger.
Yeah, and Vintage has just been so clean.
Oh god.
I love Ra myself. Nothing feels better than hitting a 1-4 combo, so it's good to see Vintage just throwing them out. I feel like that's something you have to do, but also at the same time, if you're doing it too much, you're not going to have your ult for those really important moments.
Look, I don't hate it too much at all. You know, Ra cooldown relatively good. He does already have the Chronos Pendant. He's got a Doom Orb as well, so it's a fast Ra. It's very fast, especially if he looks like he's going for Gem of Focus as his starter item, but with that Chronos Pendant, his ultimate's probably already down to about 50 seconds, 45, so I think he's pretty free just to throw that out as much as he wants to.
Yeah, and now he's got a mystery item, so hopefully that build just keeps getting better.
I have to think it's going to be a Relic Dagger. It's going to be, he's going to get the Bewitched Relic Dagger, and he's just going to be throwing Sunders on cooldown, I have to assume.
No, I'm talking about the Ra. They have a tier 3 mystery item. I saw the Rod of Healing tree being built.
Yeah, but there's a few items that could be.
Last gasp, possibly.
I wouldn't hate it to be a last gasp. I won't lie. I think the Rod of Sclepius is a bit bait. So hopefully that updates at some point. As Pyromancer goes down, Legs will be the one to take the bomb. As I'm kind of excited. It is on cooldown here. I have to assume that's a last gasp.
Does that have a timer? I don't know.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it does have a timer.
Okay. We figured it out.
There's a Moxie forced into the World Serpent. Sean's made the rotation to solo lane, and not a lot to be had right now. Dookie caught in a bit of a bad spot by Legs. Legoris is here, but it's 3v2 here. Make that 2v2 as Legoris wipes out Dookie. He jumps on the mounted archery, gets on out of there, and Legs just flies to him. And now Carter's in a bit of an awkward spot. Has to take to the skies for that death from above. And I have to assume there's going to be a Searing Pain coming out here from Vintage. Oh, he hits it too. God. Puts Carter down to about 300 health, and good setup from Legs. The beam doesn't find it, but Legs will take the kill. Sean's rotated in, taking Weave off the map as well. I didn't even notice Weave was there.
Yeah, he was definitely present. But that there is just an example of maybe the ESET pick just not being the one that they need. They need some answer to this pressure from Legs, but he's hitting spirit balls and he's getting those silencers, but the spirit ball does like 80 damage. Ooh, another solo kill.
No, I don't think that one's quite solid kill with the Hebo being in the area.
No, it was solo. He got solo.
But yep, we'll throw it out there. That's a solo kill. That's two for I think now. This set is a little bit back to farming here. This is an 11k lead already. I'm not too sure what BGF are going to be able to do to get back into this game.
I don't know either. I think Dookie building into the tankier Fenrir is maybe a good way back in. They can find some sort of initiation from this Fen who will have some element of survivability. It's good to see that Moxie he's not even that tanky, to be honest. He only has a Glad Shield and a binding, but I think their initiation is getting slowly better, but I'm not sure if it's going to be quick enough.
Yeah, this looks like it will be a Pridwin for the Fenrir, which I do like. I like the Pridwin on Fenrir. It allows you to just go with the ult. A lot of the times when you're going in as Fenrir, hang on a second, the Unchained stun comes off and
I don't know if that's a trade he wants.
he's just taking the trade. I love seeing him try to juke in the Ragnarok form. Mounted Archery comes out as Weave just goes down again, crushing Wave more than enough to take out the support. As Vintage is here to chase down Mingyu. He's a very fast Ra. He's gotten into range. That beam just did so much damage. Searing Pain is up. Avoids the Wild Hunt. I'm waiting for it. I can't wait to see it. That is the dash down. Oh, he's pinned him into the corner. Good Aegis though from Mingyu.
That's a nice Aegis.
Look,
yeah.
that's all I was saying about Dookie on this Fenrir. I do like the Pridwin. A lot of the times you will ult in as he dies to a long-range auto from Thegoris, and Carter probably the next to go. Double kill for Thegoris on the Hachimenas. I'd love to get back to this point about the Pridwin. A lot of the time you will go in, you will try and chomp someone as the Fenrir, and then you will just get beads, and it kind of leaves you in a bit of an awkward situation, especially if you unchained in to get the stun before the Ragnarok. So I do like the Pridwin just to give him that added bit of security.
Yeah, it is a nice pickup though. But I think this game is just a little bit of an avalanche. Oh my god. You see how much damage his beam just did to Weave?
Oh mate, that is that's a lot of damage. Crushing Wave off the mark though, a bit of a circus here from Pi. Maybe going a bit too deep. Sean has to use the beads. I think he's still gonna be fine. There's a level 19 hero. Searing Pain, I don't think it's anyone, but Demetron's stuck in a bit of a bad spot. Dookie will punish him for it as the second kill for BGF comes out 20 minutes into the game. Both of them going to Dookie.
And Gold's up, Pyro's up, Fire's up. I don't know if Pi even really need a Fire at this point, probably. Oh, the F6 comes out. I don't know what I think about that.
Yeah, I didn't realize it was an F6.
Honestly, F6able, to be honest, but I would have liked to see that play out. We know BGF have the reputation of swinging back very long games, but I think the E set only had like 12 stacks on Thebes.
Yeah, interesting finish. That is a Pi victory, taking game number 1. And look, I do, as you just said about the Thieves stacks, I got to point it out. I'm just not happy about this E set. I mean, I know Weaver's been playing this a lot. You know, he's been playing a lot of casuals, a lot of the solo queue tournaments with this pick, but I just don't think bringing it out in a comp environment against, you know, the number 1 seed is the correct play. I would have much rather have seen him play, you know, like the Terror or the Ganesh. Just pick something tanky and help set up for the boys.
Yeah, I would have to agree with you. I do respect the fact that he thinks he's found a pick that is strong and valid, but I think we've such a great player on those more traditional supports. Like we've seen him absolutely carry on the Ganesh and other picks, Atlas, etc. I would have maybe preferred to see that. If he had a Ganesh in that scenario, Vemetron could have fallen way easier. Sean would have been left in a hard spot when he blinks in. So yeah, maybe they could look for a different support pick in the next game.
Look, I don't even hate the support pick itself. I think it's just more the Eye of the Jungle Chronos start that I really hate.
Yeah, fair enough.
And I mean, even then, he's dropped 3k damage on the C set. Yeah, I would have much rather him have seen just a, I'm not sure, maybe like a Benevolence breastplate even. You know, if you wanted that 20% cooldown and just, I think he still would have done the same amount of damage and he probably wouldn't have died anywhere near as much.
perhaps. And dare I say, a few more wards out of the Sonos could have been nice. We saw a few rotations from Vintage from Sean, and he ended up 0-3. So there's a few outlets that BGF could look to kind of improve on going into the second game. But I think the performance in saying that from Pi was very clean. We saw Vintage absolutely popping people with that Searing Pain. Thegoris soloing two people. And honestly, the only real lackluster performance would have been Vemetron not really making the most of that counter matchup that he had.
Yeah, I mean, I agree that that Ra was really interesting to watch. I enjoyed seeing this Ra pick from Vintage, and excited to see what's going to happen in game number two. As we will go to just a short break, and then we'll be right back. So stay with us for game number two of BGF versus It's a Wonderful Day for Pi. All right, guys, welcome back to Smite OCL. I am once again Lath. This is once again Moss, and that was game one of It's Wonderful Day for Pi versus BGF. And Moss, probably uh, a bit unexpected the way that game finished, but not so much unexpected the outcome.
Yeah, I would have personally thought that BGF would have put up a much greater fight. We do see a few little roster changes, so perhaps the team not firing on all cylinders, not gelling as they have been in the previous weeks. Maybe the move from Juki to ADC was really where their team was thriving. But yeah, honestly, you can't really expect too much different out of Pi. They played the game really clean, and it just so happened that BGF had enough, which I personally can understand.
Yeah, honestly, not. Yeah, I do agree. I do agree. As far as F6able games go, that one was definitely up there. So I mean, respect to them to get out of that game, save the mentals, reset, get into game number two as we will be doing ourselves.
Yeah, I'd like to see. We spoke briefly about the not necessarily the ESET pick, but the build path and the mentality that we was playing the pick with. Maybe could look for a bit of a change, but I wouldn't mind seeing a whole different pick entirely, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing the pick run back. I don't hate the ESET support itself. I know the Weave plays it really well. It was just the build and the play style. It was very obvious what he wanted to do, and you could even see it at the start of that game. You know, Pi knew that they were going to lose clear, so they grabbed the purple buff and they actually took it low and around the tower rather than walking it up towards, that shield buff sort of area and allowing BGF to try and steal it. So I think that they came into that game knowing exactly what that pick was going to do.
Yeah, I think we may see pretty similar bands come out. Double legs Moja bands this set so far. Has he been running it down on the Umoja lately? I haven't really witnessed it.
Look, man, I the first time I ever saw legs in this region was back in the AGL games, season 2 of AGL. He was playing support for Nindo, and he was playing Yamoja, and he just had like some of the most highlight plays I've ever seen before in my entire life. This was before he went to EDC. I think that the Yamoja pick is definitely in his wheelhouse. I think it's one of his better picks, so I think it's pretty heads up from BGF to ban that away.
Yeah, we see a few teams have very potent Umoja players. Like some of the top supports in the region need that Umoja band away. So yeah, let's go for it. Ban that Umoja.
Um,
The
I have
Horus
to
though.
say, oh, sorry. Yeah, that is the Horus ban. Obviously, Legs doing a little bit too much on that. Is I'm more looking at the ban in between that. Biogravity Finance was second pick last game. They let the Muddy through. It's a wonderful day for Pi. Did not pick it. They did not ban it. BGF then picked it themselves. It didn't have a fantastic game, albeit of no fault of Carter's. But they have now banned it themselves from first pick. So that's a little bit interesting. Is that it looks like they were trying to get the Hutchman for
I
themselves.
will win peace by
Yeah, that's
force.
an interesting way to do it. I think personally, I'd rather play against a Baba Yaga than a Matasaurus. Like Baba Yaga can actually die in the ult, so that's always a plus. So they obviously don't value it too highly themselves, opting to take that Hachi pick away from the Theg. He performed very well on it, so I don't see any problem with that.
Yeah, that is actually interesting that the Baba Yaga has made it through. And not only is it not
Wisdom
taken
shall be
first, but
my
it looks like
shield.
it looks like Pi is also not going to take it.
On
Ratatoskr Athena. That's a bit of global pressure already. And
Hmm.
I'm not convinced that this is the jungle support, Moss. I think that Ratatoskr is solo, and I honestly wouldn't be too surprised to see that Athena be jungle.
Yeah, that rat's definitely heading to the short lane. We've seen if anybody's played casuals in the past week, you would have witnessed it at some point. Vematron Ratatuska carrying your game. So I actually like to see that pick. Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing the Athena in the jungle. It's kind of slept on, but at the same time, I'm sure Legs can
I will
pilot
leave
that pick very well.
standing no barrier to our success.
I love this. I'm very happy with this. The Ganesh pick for Weave, a much more traditional support. We've been seeing a lot of Ganesh lately. A lot of people have been picking it. A lot of people doing really well on it. So I'm so glad to see this
my
change up as
victory shall be sweeter than
AMC
honey.
picked. That's an interesting top three to want to pick AMC into. Uh,
Definitely.
but I have no doubt that Vintage can play it well, as I know it will be him. This is definitely not going to be Theg playing the AMC ADC.
Yeah, I've been a bit skeptical of AMC as of late. I think obviously the AA Hunters is so strong, but AMC still pumps damage. He has a lot to offer from the mid lane, I think. Not so much in ADC. So I think it actually should be pretty interesting to watch Vintage take this down.
Yeah, I do think this will be interesting. As I said, though, it's a bit of an odd choice into Wukong Ganesh, even the Hachiman. All gods that like to get on top of you a little bit. So I am keen to see how AM's Vintage pilots this AMC in mid as bands coming out. The Terror ban is a bit confusing.
Yeah, well, we do see that Weave has had that terror band away from him.
Yeah, but Weave's on the Ganesh.
Oh, yeah. Maybe they
Uh,
don't think it's. Maybe they think it's like a Ganesh jungle, Ganesh mid.
yeah, I'm not too sure. Maybe they think it might be the Terra mid. Either way, Kali as well banned away. That one makes a little bit more sense. And Thor Baba Yaga on the other side. So these guys have keyed on to the fact that this shouldn't be a Ratatoska jungle as Danzaburg comes through. Two
I'm loving
ADCs
this
picked.
pie draft. I don't know if I've seen any of these gods played at all this entire season so far, so it should be interesting.
Yeah, I definitely don't think the Danzaburg has been picked as Bastet is now picked. Another curious one. And the Morgan Le Fay. Interesting. A couple interesting picks. I
Entire
think
kingdoms fall
from
beneath
BGF, the
me.
Wukong and the Bastet are kind of standing out to me. I don't know if Wukong's really made a bit of a resurgence here. You are a soul laner yourself. What are your
Yeah,
thoughts on this?
Wukong pumps, man. He's so good.
Well, I'm keen to see it
Freya
happen this
jungle,
early.
Freya jungle. Yay, that's so sick.
No, Moss. I know what this is. Do you not know what this is?
No, should I know what it is?
This is definitely not. That'll be a Theg ADC Freya. That is a Danzaburg jungle for It's Your Boy Sean.
Okay, okay. Still cool. I would have rathered a Freya jungle.
I mean, look, me too. Me too. I do like Freya jungle. That's really throwing it back a little bit, but I am absolutely certain, as we're about to see, it's Sean on the Danzaburg jungle. I love this. I used to play with my jungler for the original Smite chickens. He used to always pick Danzaburg jungle. Vemitron's very used to seeing it in his lane. So I'm keen to see how this one plays out.
Yeah, it's got a very nice gank tool with that rocket. If you hop in, you're going to be in that lane in no time. So yeah, I think it could catch some people off guard getting rocketed out of the jungle for like 600 damage. It should be fun to see. I was thinking though, there may be a flaw in this draft from BGF with the taunt and the stinger combo from Pi. A lot of these gods on BGF may be forced to drop a relic or drop an ult because, like, if you think about a Wukong going in or trying to engage, if he can't use his animal to get away, he's going to be forced to use his ult. Same with the same with the Bastet. Possibility there for the Hachiman to get called out by the stinger as well.
I think that's a great point what you're pointing out here. And look, I have to have a look at Dookie, who has elected to not go beads. He's playing Bastet, and Bastet's one of those gods who, honestly, I think you can get away with going beads Aegis and just not getting the blink whatsoever. So going the blink into this taunt stinger combo could spell pretty certain death for Dookie. I think that he's going to try a little bit of a leap in. He's just going to get taunted, stinged, and we're probably going to see a death very rapidly. I wouldn't be surprised to see that maybe for a first blood even.
Yeah. We did see Bastet get a little bit of a buff, I believe, and a bit more playtime as of late. So I'm interested to see if the buff was actually enough to kind of bring her back into relevancy. I suppose it's a lot better that they have an actual support on their team now to help him with the engage. So yeah, should be interesting.
Yeah, I think that's kind of what I like the most here, is it's going to allow Dookie to play a little bit more his style, as he does get a lot of damage into Vintage. He will pop a bit of the Duke shoes on, avoids that Dragonflight, and very close to chewing my own words about Dookie being first blooded. He almost got the first blood himself.
Yeah, if Vintage is caught alone, I can see that happening where he just gets caught by that buffed Bastet cat and just has no chance to escape. Such as
taking the 2v1 here, is he's getting super low, and Dookie once again very close to getting first blood. But Sean will just manage to weasel his way out of that one.
You're caster cursing him, man.
I shouldn't have said anything then.
Well, he wants more.
Oh, the blink in, the up down. Dookie does it. I'm getting first blood. Sean takes a spill. I am stuck here eating my own words.
Yeah.
Pretty good play. The blink does come in, but I have to say, very funnily, he blinked and then up down with the leap.
You got to do it to him. That's why you get the bling.
Surely you just go for the leap, right? Bastet does have the ability to go back to the original destination from where she used the pounce. There's a green buff invade coming out. 3 people in the area. This has been spotted. Legs has taken the purple buff. back towards the tower. Sean in the area. But they're just going to take the green buff and leave.
Yeah. I'd like to see Sean come over for that as well.
Yeah, here's a Dancer Burrow. He's probably not at the strongest point of the game right now. I don't think he's going to be doing a great deal of damage. Dancer Burrow also pretty unsafe until that ultimate is online, so I don't hate them giving up this first green buff, especially into, you know, the Bastet, Ganesh, even Morgan Le Fay with the amount of CC she has.
Definitely. What do you think is the kind of thought process Carter's having here with the Morgan Le Fay? Like, is it matchup orientated or is it just more of a comfort pick? I think I've seen him playing the Morgan Le Fay from time to time, but is there anything you think might be a reason that's coming out?
Look, we have seen him play the Morgan a lot. I'm not too sure about the pick. Maybe it's because he knows he might be getting a bit dived with this rat solo. Morgan very good at anti-dive. Hang on a second as Sean jumps into the rocket. He's looking for Wukong. Probably not the greatest to target. Does get the stun off. Moxie not able to get to the sky, and that Somersault Cloud will take a spill. And Demetron's going to take the kill.
Yeah.
Just to get back to your point about the Morgan, yeah, she's very good at anti-dive. So that could have been a reason why, you know, if you see legs running at you with this Athena to go for the taunt, you can just kind of pop the ultimate for that CC immunity and try and return some damage. So I don't hate it. I don't hate the Morgan at all.
Yeah, it kind of slips under the radar, that pick, I think. It's lots of good things that it can do.
And a second.
Forced to ult there.
Double ult used by BGF, but Weave's the one getting turned on. Shell has to come out. And Sean is here though. He doesn't have that rocket anymore, but he was in the cloud. Mingyu doesn't realize this. Beads forced early, no mounted archery. He does have the Aijutsu to get away. And I think if the Confound comes up, this could be seeing a death here. Confound comes out, goes on to Weave though, who nearly dies, but Dookie rotates in, gets another kill, but Sean manages to pick up Weave in return.
Yeah, we do see the kill coming out, but I didn't think that was going to be for BGF there. I thought that might have been Coffins as soon as Legs was pathing that aggressively, but yeah, nice rotation there from the Bastet. We see a decent amount of work coming out from the cat this early.
Yeah, I think on this this Bastet, that is where you have to play. You're versing a Hunter jungle. The Hunter's always going to scale a lot more. Once he gets that Bomber Spear online as well, he's going to be dealing a lot of damage not only to people but the jungle bosses. So I think Dookie's doing the right thing here. Get aggressive early. Try and get relics. Try and play off of this AMC in mid, I think is probably where I want to be looking. But to be fair, the Freya's also a really good target because once that Valkyrie's discretion's down, she's very easy to kill.
I agree, but I don't know what I think about that Boomba's Telkines build from Thegoris personally. I think such an integral part of Freya is getting that hastened ring online as soon as you can. Adds so much to her potential. And the Boombas will slap late, but I'm not too sure about it.
Yeah, I mean, I do think this will be a Bomber's Spear, same as what we should be seeing from the Danzabaru. Maybe they're just looking to go late and just win off jungle bosses. I think maybe is by going for an invade. Oh, and they managed to get the red buff. That is tragic for Carter. He brought it into tower and everything, still couldn't secure it. As back to the point about the Freya. I don't hate the Telekines ring. You're right. You know, hasten is very good, but it's not the greatest stat stick. You know, kind of only allows Freya to run at someone if you're not doing a great deal of damage, which at this point Freya's probably not. Then just being able to be on top of the enemy probably won't make that much of a difference. So I do like the Telekines myself.
I think regardless of what we were saying before, if they're looking to take it late, they should just win. They have the Freya, they have the Rat, who's just going to be so obnoxiously tanky while also pumping out so much damage. Like, their team is quite potent in the late.
That's a very good point. Yeah, once you get to late game, you have to think Pi just going to either way as a double Confound comes out. Carter taken super low already. He's gone into the ultimate and Vem has made the rotation in on the Ratatoska. To the Cosmos, didn't find a mark. I don't think he could quite make it, but Carter looks like he's just juked himself to death. Bit of a slow from the AMC, and Demetron will pick up his second kill of this game as... Hang on a second, Dookie's tanking tower.
Dookie with the nuki?
Oh dear. That's That's a horrible shutdown to give to Legs after managing to have such a good early game. Hang on a second. Heavenly Banner comes down. Third gets away with 2 health. What is going on?
This is action-packed, man. Quite a fast pace. We see Sean lurking in the jungle here. I'm not too sure, but does the leaf show up on a ward?
A grape. Oh my. That Sake there almost caught the back out of Mingyu. I'm not too sure. It's an interesting one. I think invisibility still shows up on wards. I'm not too sure about people being a leaf, as Dookie is just getting pumped right now. And this is what I was talking about. No beads into the Athena
He's
as the
going
rocket
in.
comes out, and oh no, Dookie is just gonna fall. Sean goes down. Good ultimate comes out from Legs though to give Sean a bit of mitigation. He's got no mana here, but the confound might be enough as Legs will finish it with the dash.
No
It's
way
another
he
kill
gets
for the
out here.
support. Oh,
Whoa.
the Ganesh damage not quite enough. The heal almost non-existent. But Sean will get away with his life.
I think that's actually quite a nice combo there, getting the Athena ult on top of the Dunzabo rocket. Often you find yourself catching is like going too deep and just getting caught out if you actually hop in the rocket. But if you've got a Athena landing on you when you crash into someone, you're almost not worried at all.
Yeah, I think that is a really good combo because, like as you said, he can just kind of send it straight into the back line, get on top of like the enemy mid, and then you've got an Athena who's just got a freeway in. You know, Legs will land, pop a Sunder on someone, that person's probably going to die very quickly. So, you know, Pi really going for the wombo combo, and it's showing here, but Dookie just not having the beads.
And Sean's really weaving it up with this build. He's got the Vital Amplifier coming online.
Oh, now that's an interesting pickup.
Oh no, it's a Sekhmet Scepter.
Oh,
That's the cooldown one.
yeah, okay. I mean, Denzabar does have the heal in his second ability, and that's Sake. But it is only the one heal. I'm not too sure about how Sekhmet Scepter works. It's not a stacking one, is it? It's just a single use of the heal?
I think it's when you... Forgive me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure when you heal someone, you get some sort of cooldown return from it. But I could be wrong. Please don't quote me on that.
Yeah, well, if that's the case, caster number 2, and I do believe you, then probably pretty good pickup on the Dunzaburo as mounted archery forced out of Mingyu. Looks like Bastet also dropped her ultimate. I'm not too sure what that was used, but she does have the 20% cooldown already, so not the worst in the world. Probably not feeling too worse for wear. As, hang on a second, Sean's straight back into the rocket. Dookie looks to be the target again. Body block by Weave, albeit maybe unintentionally. Damo Pillars comes down, but Rat is in the Cosmos. Good silence from Weave. I'm pretty sure stopped the knockup from landing on him. As Vermitron still gets the kill. But that was a bit of an interesting interaction.
Very impressive. I don't like that rotation from Moxie though. I feel like he would get way more value out of that by just staying in his lane. But, you know, sometimes you just got to get involved. Your team will yell at you if you don't rotate, so I understand.
Yeah, and unfortunately he has to use the Somersault Cloud, so you're right, he is 2 levels behind Vem on the Rat. Maybe it would have been better if he just sat in the solo lane, just farmed up a bit of a storm here and let Vem rotate. I don't think he can quite match the rotation at this point, so, you know, it's not the worst thing in the world to give up Beacon. You know, it is a nice little boost for the team. What is it, 1% movement speed, 3% power or something like that?
I think it's 5% objective damage.
Yes, 5% object damage and 1% movement speed. I do believe his Legs picks up his 3rd kill of the game. I'm not too sure what Carter was doing there. Mingyu goes in aggressively. Beads used by Theki. He does have that hasten online, but doesn't quite have a lot of damage yet. Mounted archery comes out.
Oh, he hits
3 autos
those.
hits. Doesn't quite get the 4th one. For a second there, I thought they turned the kill, but Mingyu's just going to pick up that kill.
It's a clean solo. Even after he ulted out there, I was a bit confused why he was kind of pathing back in, but he shows us why.
It was very aggressive from Dookie there. He leapt straight over the Stinger, drops the cat, gets the beads out of Vintage, and then I'm pretty sure Legs ended up taking it anyway, so...
Yeah,
maybe a little lack of trust there from Vintage, or maybe he's just too clean with the pre-beads. Either way, those beads are on cooldown. Hopefully we can see Dookie, Weave, or maybe even Carter look to punish that.
Yeah, honestly, I would have liked to see Pi look for the God Fury a little earlier when they forced that kind of that I don't know, disappointing rotation out of Moxie. They had so much vision around the gold pit at that point. I reckon they could have stolen that with no contest.
Yeah, it could have been a very interesting play. They might be looking at getting a Gold Fury. I think that it's not the worst little lead here. What is that, about 2.3k in favor of Pi right now? You know, if you're by Gravity, you're not feeling too worse for it. It's a lot better than they were last game, but
Oh, catches the
you
dash.
definitely don't want it to get a lot worse, as you are right. Remove obstacles caught by the compound from legs. The rocket goes in. This is a very tanky Ganesh. He is living for a long time. He still has the shell, manages to weave out. Shell is popped. Diamond Killers comes out too. Mingyu hits it.
Tag.
Valkyrie's discretion, not quite enough to get the kill. Just hang on, Legs isn't done yet. Goes for the compound, gets the beads out of Mingyu. But that'll be all she wrote.
It's crazy, man. Thebes is OP.
And Dookie and Carter actually punishing this AMC with no beads. I'm very happy to see that. Looks like it will be a tier 1 trade though over in the duo lane. Vintage, thank you for your service, sir. We got a tier 1 for you.
I'm actually very impressed with how Dookie's been playing this Bastet. It's coming into the strongest... Oh, Vematron, huge engage.
Yeah, that is a big engage. The Vendor of Olympus comes out on top of Vematron after he dashes in, and he's going to take the kill. He's 4-0-0 in this Rad Tosca. Really making an impact early, and Dookie pretty heads up. Takes the blue buff away, knowing the fact that Vem isn't there. Sean isn't going to make it in time to stop him, but he stops his own back as Vem's been caught going for the blue invade himself.
Got no mana. He could be a little bit deep here.
Yeah, the rocket comes out, beads instantly used by Dookie. The taunt doesn't quite get onto him, but Sean's right behind him. Good route. Dookie just waiting for that pounce to come back up. It is up, but Sean's going to pick up the kill. Moxie might be able to trade. Aegis used by Sean. The cudgel just off the mark. Some sort of cloud, but which one is he? He's not that one. Breaks the ankles, and the 10 rank could be there, but Ox is enough for Moxie to get away.
Yeah, I saw in that fight there, Sean actually managed to space himself so much with the money bags. Like the little... Is it an Intoxicate on the money bag? It's actually...
I do believe it's an Intoxicate, yeah.
It's quite a potent ability.
Yeah, the CC out of Danzabaru is quite potent just in general. Like, it's very unexpected too, you know. Taunt's one of the best CCs.
Ooh, double taunt.
You can see the taunt from legs, gets the beads and the ultimate, but Vem's just TP'd in and he's straight into the tree. Lands on top of Carter, and Carter's got nowhere getting away. That's a 5th kill for Vem, and Legs has been picked up by Dookie though, taking on the tower. They will pick up that kill, and Vem's just going to leave, but Mingyu's made the rotation. This could be a big shutdown if Vem falls.
It's a great rotation there.
And it does fall. Good rotation from Mingyu.
I feel bad for Carter, man. I feel like this is like all the casuals that I play where you're just getting 5-man dived by the entire enemy team and you're blaming your support, but what can Weave really do? He can't peel all of that dive.
He could pop that shell, but even then I don't think the shell would really save him there. Probably better just holding on to that one for the next team fight. And yeah, look, this is a bit rough for Carter. He's 0-5 now on this Morgan Le Fay. Oh, that is a very rough ward differential here. There's 6 wards on the side of BGF and 5 of them are to Weave.
I think that's pretty disappointing. If I was put... Oh, that's dirty. I see that combo come out again.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty evident of the lack of wards, isn't it? The fact that those guys, you know, the Pi Boys pass straight through their own, the enemy jungle, and they're still just, no one even realizes, no rotation comes, and then they push straight into mid lane and they're looking for Carter again. We've done pretty well though to get his mid laner out, and I don't think there's anything here for Pi Boys.
Yeah, we saw both side lanes having picked up 0 wards 17 minutes into a game. Both having fallen on numerous occasions, so maybe a few little tips there. Warding OP, perhaps?
Yeah,
Oh, Juki minion body block.
Being able to see the enemy's kind of good, man. I don't know what to tell you. I think the Ratatosk, no, Ratatosk is not in the Cosmos. I saw that ultimate cooldown, I thought maybe he went in. Good taunt just to stop, good silence to stop the instant taunt. Sean still picks up the kill, but Moxie trades. Legs is really weak here, but Vematron's still just in the back line. I don't think Moxie has the damage, and Theg's on his way. This could turn sour pretty quickly for BGF.
Yeah, it feels nice for Moxie to clean that kill up, but he did expend the... What is it called? What's his ult called?
The Somersault Cloud.
Yes, I knew it was a cloud of some variety. Just for damage, but then ended up turning back just to deal with Vem. He seems to be playing very comfortably on the rat. He knows how to like get in there very well, and dealing with a tank rat damage is not very fun.
That is the Dharmic Pillars used, but it's on the support. Carter in a bad position. Sean just goes straight to the back line. Theg's gonna clean it up with the Valkyrie's discretion. And I'm thinking that this is gonna be a beacon 2 Pi, and I think maybe just a bit overcommit there from BGF. They had the advantage. Legs had no health. All they had to do was just kind of push him out, and that beacon was theirs.
And dare I say, this may evolve into either a Gold Fury or a Pyromancer. I like seeing the Hutchie get that tower though.
Yeah, as they say here in OCE, you got to get the stuff after the stuff, and it looks like the stuff after the stuff is the Gold Fury after the beacon. We've trying to get in range. He doesn't have the Dharmic Pillars for the steal, and
He's like, let me at it, let me at it.
it's funny just seeing the flush stole just trying to run in.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a bit funny. I have to say, unpopular opinion, I hate that Ganesh skin. I can't stand it. I don't like the plushy skin. I really don't, as the Cosmos are taken to by the Ratatoska. Defender Olympus comes out too. Dharmic Pillars are now dropped and taunt onto Carter, and this is not where Carter wants to be. He does have the beads, but it looks like BGF are going to win this fight. Dookie is going to take Legs down, and Vem has to retreat real quickly. Hang on. Rocket goes in the backline. Carter once against the target. Straight into that ultimate from Morgan Le Fay.
The classic disengage Dunza ult. It just ults in just to get his team out. That's what you like to see.
We haven't really touched on this stanza. He has gone for after the Sekhmet Scepter. He has gone for the Atalanta's bow.
Does that item even have pen on it anymore? Or is it, I'm pretty sure it has just attack speed, a little bit of flat pen?
It's a great question. I do think it has 10 flat pen, maybe percent pen. I can't quite remember. I haven't looked at it in a very long time. It's been changed more times than I can remember. But it is an interesting pickup. I mean, if Sean's able to get any sort of kill or even an assist at the start of a fight, he gets, 30% reduction to the auto attack movement penalty. Could be interesting, along with the fact that he can pop the 3 down, which gives him, that hastened effect. The stanza could be able to get really on top of people as the Titan's Bane is the next pickup. An interesting one.
Straight out of the lab, that build, man. It's off ice.
Look, another build I have to point out is the Ratatoska build. That is a tanky rat. A lot of damage as well. That Archdruid Stone, the Glad Shot, he's going to be slapping, and we can see that by the fact that he does have the 18Ks. Sekhmet Scepter was over there for a second. Not a lot for me to read it, but an interesting item nonetheless.
I read all of that. What are you doing?
I did. I'm not that good of a reader. I failed grade 3.
But yeah, that rat build is disgusting. So much damage, so slippery. Having the double prot shred on with the heavy acorn, so nice. Followed up with spikes, glad shield procs, and then you're just gonna have a nice little Pridwin proc when you ult in, just top it all off. Oh yeah, don't forget he has Bluestone too.
Yeah, that Sunder comes out from Legs though. Max range does hit Carter nearly enough, but the healing from the Morgan ultimate is enough to keep Carter alive, and he's really been the focal point for these Pi boys. He's been the main target. Every one of these fights, he's struggled to hold on to relics or ultimates.
Yeah, what do you think the difference is? Is it at the moment? I think it's just how fast and with like how hard they can engage from this Pi squad. The Dunzol with the Sean's in there.
Sean, speaking of Danza ultimate, Sean goes into the backline, Defender of Olympus onto him. But Moxie's taken to the sky in the Somersault Cloud. A good taunt the second he lands to keep him off of Vintage. It looks like BGF could be looking for a chase here. 3 very low health bars on the side of Pi. Dookie also low. He's still hanging around. I don't think he's... Oh, he does go in.
He's a madman.
Doesn't quite have the damage to get Theg, and Theg doesn't have the damage to get him, but Vematron does. He gets the double kill. Dookie maybe baited his mid laner into taking a really poor fight. Thegoris picks up Weave. And it's just Moxie and Mingyu left, and some really low health bars, but I don't think they can fight this 5v2, and that's probably going to be a really good taunt.
Taunt.
Mingyu gets taken. I
And
don't
the
know if he
beads.
realizes that is a taunt. Has the beads very late. Vintage picks up that kill. Moxie going to just manage to get away. Maybe a reset here and straight to Fire Giant? What do you think?
I'd like to think so, but I'm very disappointed with BGF. Someone in their comms right there is going, keep fighting, and then ended up baiting in every single one of them. Oh, nice pick from Moxie.
Yeah, good TP in from Moxie. Picks up Thegan. Yeah, look, I think you're right. Someone, maybe it was Dookie. He did hang around with no health. Baited Carter in. And he just got into his, I think, following into that beacon, it allowed Pi to get close enough to drop abilities on him without getting out of range of their own tier 1 tower. So maybe just a bit of poor pathing.
Imagine if they just said, look, we have an advantage. We don't even need to shove this mid tower. We can just go straight to fire. What's their answer? I think there's many other options there instead of just trying to chase down mid for kills. There's so much up on the map.
Yeah, even just a Gold Fury if they think Fire Giant's a bit too scary. Even just a Pyromancer. You know, small Fire Giant, as the casual players call it. Probably could have been a bigger play than trying to just, you know, run it down middle lane, as Legs is taunted here, but obviously waits for a little bit. Compound comes out. Rat is taken to the skies, and it's straight on to Carter again. No beads for the mid laner. Who would have thought? And here comes the rocket. Sean misses everyone, doubles around, hits Moxie. Loves it a little bit of a 360 as Sean has to use the beads. Dookie does pick him up in that cat. And nothing else really used, but it looks like this could just be a backup, pick up the beacon, and that was a little bit of something to watch.
I'd be having fun if I was playing Pi's draft right now. They're like, I'm going in. Me too. Yeah. Also me. Oh yeah, I'll join you. Like they just all go in all at the same time. And then Vintage is just left in the back twiddling his thumbs. Guys, I don't have any mobility.
I mean, even Theg too. Theg's kind of stuck in the back. He can take to the sky, I guess, but that's about it. As Titans getting ready to throw some hands here, and look, it's still not the end of the world here. It's only a 7k lead. You know, 3 minutes ago in game 1, we were looking at like a 13k lead. As hang on, Dookie gets picked up, and oh, Cardi uses the Aegis. Probably worth saving that one for next game, champ. As he goes down to Theg. Once again, a dive from Vem. Takes to the skies, and all he's looking for is the mid laner.
This could be the season's first reverse godlike. I hope so.
Look, probably not the achievement that anyone really wants. I hope for Carter's sake that that's not what we're going to see. As the binds of Tartarus are removed, Titans have been unleashed. Solo lane looks to be the area that they want to throw some hands in, and Pi maybe trying to run it down middle. Mingyu in a bit of a bad spot here, has to mount at archery. Luckily that will get him away, but hang on, there's a rocket coming out from Dancer.
Oh my
Beats
god.
Aegis used, Sean gets that kill. Theg picks up Moxie. Could this be? No, this can't be game.
I don't know. They do have all the Titans in, right? So
Yeah, I just realized the Titan has kind of left pace. But three of the respawn timers coming out. Could just be a reset. Look for fire. Look for the Titans. What are you thinking, caster number 2? I'm thinking maybe look for a fire giant while the Titans beef.
yeah, I think like they have the shred for it. They have a triple ADC comp. Fire should just drop. You can go for the Titan first and just force the enemy team to answer that, and then fall back to that fire. But I think in most situations, it's not going to change the game state.
Well, looks like you could be right. What a Titan's been driven back. Dookie and Weave. Hang on a second. Could be getting baited in here a bit. The wraparound from Vem does hit the stun on the Weave. Weave gets, oh, beautiful double
Huge
confound. Dookie falls straight away. Dark Pillars have come out, but Titan's beefing, Pyre beefing. Weaver's in the respawn.
Too much beef, man. I was going to say, I thought that Vintage has been having a bit of a quiet game, but he's been pumping damage. 27k. Following up off that Athena with every taunt. Might not be huge on the kills tally, but I think Vintage has been having a quiet, under the radar performance.
Yeah, look, it's really hard to tell what Vintage is doing when we're too busy watching Vematron and Legs just kind of diving into the backline, as Carter wasn't happy about not dying with his team in that last fight. Decides to come on in and give one over to Pi. I think that's another one to Vematron. 10-1-9 on this Ratatoska, and Titans here. This could be a could be
This
a
should be
call.
an end call.
This could be an end call.
Vem will just reset with the ward. Yep, and they have a tank now as well as the Titan, so I reckon they can close the game out here.
Look, good Dynamic Pillars is kind of just hitting the Chaos Titan a little bit, stopping the boys from Pi from getting in. Is a good ultimate coming out from Bastet in the back line. He's being chased away. We've just kind of watching these Titans go for
Titans
the
are
1v1.
beefing, bro.
Bro, Theg doesn't respect the 1v1. Ends the game. It's a 2-0 from Pi. In look, I'm
That was
gonna
a
say
fun last game.
it, a very fun and enjoyable game.
Yeah, we saw the Dunzaburo build reach its final form with the Boomba's hammer. Yeah, great,
Yeah,
great set.
was it the Boomba's hammer?
Yeah,
Look, that does explain why he had no mana for a lot of that game. Interesting to say the least. Look, I don't really know who I'm going to give it to as far as the MVP goes for that game. It's pretty hard. Vintage was top damage, 31k. Again, it was hard to see a lot of what he was doing because it was so much focused around Vem and legs just kind of diving. And you know, the Sean ultimate. Look, as far as enjoyment goes, I have to give it to Sean. I loved watching this Danzaburo jungle. But as far as gameplay goes, I've got to give it. I'm gonna say Young Legs.
yeah. I was gonna say Young Legs as well. We saw so many occasions where he caught them with that double taunt. I think he played well in the first game as well. I know we can't really take too much from that, seeing it was very one-sided. But I think out of this set, Young Legs had a very strong performance, as well as Vemetron. I feel like he just like goes under the radar, even despite the fact that he has 20 kill participation and 30k damage. Everyone's just like, oh yeah, Legs is Legs is performing really well, but he did, and as well as all the front line from that Pi squad.
Yeah, look, it's also hard to go past, as you said, Vemetron, the other front line.
The other
Unfortunately,
one,
Theg had a bit of a quiet game. He did get soloed a couple of times in this set. He also soloed Mingyu a couple of times. So, look, I think the ADC matchup was just kind of solo kills, really. And then a lot of it was just the rest of the map, a bit of a 4v4. So, look, at the end of the day, it's not in our hands. We leave it up to the fans at home. It does look like it is going to be a three-way tie. No, Legs does just sneak in at the last second to get the MVP. Congratulations, Young Legs. Well deserved, in my opinion. But anyway, Moss, that is set number 1. That was Pi vs BGF with Pi coming out the 2-0 win. We will be moving on to Jack Martins versus the Corrupted Crusaders. We will take it to a short break, and we'll be back. And I do believe it will be Jack Martin himself, Jay Beto, and Nuxel taking over the casting duties. So from me, Lath, and my good friend Moss, thank you for watching with us, and we'll be right back.
thank you.